Client is someone at the end of a particular process. Without the understanding and conscious shift, we will always hear things or say things like, how do I get clients? Where do I find clients? And things like that. There's nowhere to find clients. There's no how to get clients. There is a process, and you can make this process work for you. So let's jump into the process to understand what this process looks like, in spite of what the business or what concept. And we hear this all the time, especially with people who are in the spiritual space. They say things like, well, no, my clients are to be manifested or attracted. Of course, of course. However, universal laws state that there is a process, whether we are manifesting them, whether we are actively getting them, whether they are coming to us, whether we are attracting them, there is a process. So, what is that process? Typically, there's a stranger, and when I say stranger, I mean somebody who is probably not aware or who we are not aware of. They are a stranger to what we do, they're a stranger to how we can help them, and all of that. They're a stranger to our space. Sometimes they might know us as friends, they might be strangers to our world. And sometimes they might actually be strangers. So there's a stranger, usually this is where it starts. Somebody who does not know you, how you can help them. This person joins our network and they become a lead. A lead is really a sales term for somebody, for a person within your network. You know, anybody you can call, anybody that you can talk to, speak to about your stuff, about whatever, is a lead. So a lead is not somebody, it's not a client, it's not somebody who has the desire for your stuff. It's simply a person within your network. This could potentially, whether directly or indirectly, lead to a sale, lead to a client. But usually there's a stranger who is now part of our network, and this whole process can happen really fast. It could happen in a day, a minute, a year. However, there's a process. There's a process of knowing and becoming part of our space. Now, somehow, some way, this person hears about us. They hear about what we can do, or some way they hear an offer to get on the phone or something we're doing, and they show up. This show up is all like, it could be an appointment, it could be showing up for to buy on a website, it could be showing up to a landing page, it could be showing up to your actual physical space. However, somehow a lead shows up, so there's a step here that gets the stranger to become a lead. There's a step that gets a lead to show up and say, I am interested. The only way you would know people who are interested is when they show up. And usually this is usually when you find out what they're trying to do, or they find out what you can help them with, and there's an offer to work together, or there's an offer, they sometimes offer to work with you, or you offer to work with them. But somehow, some way, there is what they call the close. The close really is really getting the money. Then they become a client. So most people end here. I try not to end here. I want ambassadors. I want raving fans. I want people who would speak highly of my business, of me, of the solution, the service, the product that I offer. So there's a stranger who becomes part of our network, who learns about what we do and how we can help them, and now has the desire to show up and find out if we can help them. And based on that interaction, whether this is a physical interaction, a digital interaction, whatever interaction of any kind, this is usually the point. The show up is the point of interaction. You know, it's a point of interaction where they really get to show up, Then the closing is where they decide. Sometimes they decide before that they want to work with you. However, for me, decision is when they actually. The only way I would know, I deal with reality, and the only way I will know that they have decided is when I close. Then they become a client, and based on how well we perform or how well we help them, they become ambassadors. And this is the process. So you can see here that the client is number five in this. If this were levels or steps, this will be step or level five. So where do I find clients? It's not where do I find clients. Is where are these strangers that that can become part of my network who I potentially can help and who have a desire, need for what I do, desire for what I do, who have the want for what I do, and who I would like to work with. Now they show up, they close, and they become clients. So usually leads is where it's at. Leads is what starts the whole process. And there's usually everybody has a number. Every business has their number, and sometimes we get better, the product gets better, the business gets better, um, and the number shifts. However, everybody has their number. Could be 1 in 10, 1 in 5, 1 in 100. However, typically there's usually a number of leads that makes the whole thing work. Let's say your number is 1 in 10. Okay, so 100 new people join your network, join your community, your audience, all of that. They're now your network. 1 in 10. So 10 of them show up. 1 in 10, you close one. Now that you have one client. So every time you have 100 people here, you have one client. And now you do this 10 times, now you have 10 clients, and maybe one becomes an ambassador. Well, now we're using the 1 in 10 principle. So usually everyone has your number, but you will never know your number if you do not start the process, if you do not pay attention, measure, and become accountable. So in actuality, in real terms, this is what it kind of looks like. It's not limited to this. This is an example. So grab attention. This could be There are many ways to grab attention. So we'll get to that later on. So usually you grab the attention. Whether you're meeting somebody on the streets for the first time or something, somehow, even when it's a referral, there needs to be it's an attention game where the person now pays attention to you, and for the first time they're really seeing you and seeing what you do and how you can help them, or simply just joining your community, just simply just like you, and now they're part of your community. You educate they they're educated in one way or form. The relationship is formed. There's an offer to show up. There are two kinds of offers usually. There's the offer to show up, the offer to, hey, look, check this out. Hey, come get on the phone. Hey, book an appointment. Hey, come to the office. Hey, check out the landing page or website. That's the first offer. The second offer is at the close, where you make an offer to help them. So you make an offer, they show up, you show up, you find out what they want, and you see that you can help them. You close by you make another offer. Now you close. This is usually what it looks like. So this is the abstract, and this is really usually what that looks like. Sometimes, again, remember, this is not limited to this. You can skip a lot of this. Between grabbing attention and closing, there's a lot you can play with. Um, some people don't like to, they don't like the word community. They don't want to build a community or any of that. I understand. However, here's the thing: your ideal clients are a community. And when you start thinking in terms of community, whether you're building one, growing one, starting one or not, there's already humans organize themselves as groups in communities. And when you understand that your ideal clients right now exist within a community, and the understanding of that, now grabbing the attention of that, what and how to educate, relationship, what offer to make, even how to close, all of that becomes easier when you understand that they are a community. So whether you are grabbing a piece of of that community and making and building your own community from that, or you're standing out as a leader in that community, or whatever form, or you don't want to build a community, you don't want to do any of that. However, your ideal clients right now, they're already organizing themselves as community, and the understanding of this changes the game. So um before we go into what that really looks like, again, a bit further, remember that a client is a result of a process. If we're going with this, it would be step five. So and this removes this demystifies the whole client getting. Now you no longer ask, where can I get clients? You go, where are strangers that can become leads right now? Where can I get strangers, people who I can convert to join my network? And and now you go, okay, how can I get my leads, these people who are already in my network, who kind of not know me, probably like me, how can I get them to start showing up? Now by asking these questions independently, you get to really know is what is missing. you know I mean, when if you have 10 leads, 10 people in your network now, and you don't have a client, you probably now know, okay, I don't have enough numbers to make the process work. It's like gasoline. One drop of gas will not make a car work. Or one drop of water will not quench your thirst. One spoon of food will not fill your stomach. It's the same thing. There's an amount of leads that need to happen for the client process to really work. So you have 10 and you don't have clients, so now you have 100 and you're having, one, two show ups. Now we know what the problem is. The problem is probably need more leads. Okay, now you probably have 500 leads, which means 500 people in your network, right? And they're not showing up. Probably you're not even making an offer. Remember, making an offer, you're not making an offer for them to show up. So they don't know that they can show up. You know, um, I mean, we need to realize that people don't know. Lots of people are creating content today, for example. I mean, we spoke to one of our clients who creating amazing content, have thousands of people responding to all of her stuff, but she's like, I still don't have clients. Then the question was, are you making an offer for them to show up? She said, no. I mean, why don't they can send me a DM if they can. They don't know. So you got to actually make an offer for them to show up. So now if we are having show up, so let's say you are having between 20 people, or how many people show up, but you're not closing. Now we know that your closing skills are what need work. You know, and if you're closing and you're not able to keep them as clients, or you're not able to convert them to become ambassadors, probably now we can focus on your solution process, your solution itself, your product service, and how well you're delivering that customer satisfaction. So by being able to just look at it as a whole process and saying, okay, what part of this process is not working for me, you would solve your client problem. In fact, this is, this if this was all you understood, you can take this and run with it. So now you can go. Now you understand that it's a process, and these are the things that you need to be to have this process needs to be in place, and a certain number of leads and a certain number of people, need to come into this process to make this thing work. Now you you can isolate and start getting trained in, okay, I need to get trained on how to expand my network, how to expand the amount of leads I get, how to get people to show up. I need to be trained on that. I need to learn how to do that. How to close this is probably the most important skill you would have as an entrepreneur. For me personally, closing is negotiation, closing is empathy, closing is leadership, closing is sales, closing is listening, closing is, in fact, closing makes you a better human being, being able to really close. But we'll get to all of that later. So now you can isolate and say, this is what I need training on. This is what I do not know how to do. So usually when people say I don't know how to get clients, they mean I don't know how to do either or all of these things. These things. You know, remember that this is not, you're not limited to any of this. So what does that look like? Okay, so community audience, my ideal client is a community. I need to understand that. I need to get that, and how well I'm grabbing the attention of that, a piece of that community, existing community, is how I'm going to be getting new people or leads, new people in my network, or what we call leads. Then appointments, people showing up. Am I how well I'm making offers, or getting these people now within my network, how well I'm making offer for them to show up, or book appointments, how well I'm doing that, whether I'm doing that manually, automatically, whatever form I'm using that for, how and the frequency within which I'm doing that. That now determines how many appointments you get. Then closing, how well you can close. Again, we'll come to close. Closing is an entire life, it's an entire planet of its own. How well you can close, means you're getting the money. Here's how you know you've closed. Not when they make a promise, it's when you get the money. When you get the money is when you've closed. That's it. And getting money is an art. It's an art to there's an art to that, which we'll get into later. And of course, you can get the money, but you might not be able to keep the money. The way you're able to keep that money is actually giving them what they want, what you're promising them that you're going to give to them, and that is the solution, the product or the service that we help them. And really, that is the process. And now you can start saying, okay, how well am I tapping into this community? Am I good at this? Okay, this one, number one here, let me get good at this. Number two, am I able to generate appointments? Let me get good at this. Number three, am I closing? Am I able to get the money? Let me get good at this. Number four, am I able to find out what they want, give them that thing, put it together. Some the people don't like packaging, but I like the word packaging. That's the word it's used. That's the word for it. Packaging, solution, productizing, servicing, like all of that. But how well you're able to deliver on your promise determines whether you keep the money or not. And this is it. Like this is it. Like how well you do all of these determines whether you have clients in your business or not. So my goal with this really is to get you to stop saying I do not have clients and start thinking about your business differently. To start thinking about the actual skills that you need to make your business work. The actual things that you need to be trained on or master, or the actual things that you need to start doing to make this thing work for you. All right, so see you in the next video.